This is from a report I did on the 5th of November 2016. Today I went to the Eltham rally to show my opposition to putting Syrians and Iraqis into an aged care facility in Eltham. The rally was held at Andrews Park, which is right next to the railway station and within view of the Judgebrook Aged Care Facility. Even before I arrived, the traffic was backed up into the next suburb. I later found out that was because the police had blocked off the main street in Eltham so that the left could have their rally, so I had to park quite some distance from the park. I walked to the park and saw that the police were out in force and there was no sign of the left. I got lost as I went the wrong way and then couldn't find the underpass under the railway tracks, but that only wasted about 10 minutes, so no real problem. As we got closer to the rally, I saw that there were a few leftists, maybe 10 or so on one side of some tennis courts. They didn't say or do anything. Then I came across the first police line. I was asked if I was going to the rally, and when I said yes, they let me through. The same happened at the second police line. It was clear that the police have learnt to keep the two sides apart. The rally was late in starting as we waited for the True Blue crew to arrive. They arrived with massed Australian flags and loud cheering. It was a great way to start off the rally. There were about 200 people in attendance. Some came a long way from the southern suburbs of Melbourne, from Mildura and Bairnsdale in country Victoria. We even had people fly in from Sydney. Having said that, the majority came from Melbourne, and I'd say about 10% were Eltham locals. The Australian Party for Freedom ran the rally, and its leader, Nick Foulkes, was the MC. He introduced each speaker and in doing so basically gave his own speech, which I thought worked quite well. There were around 6 speakers. Each had their own way of talking about the issue as well as letting people know about the broader issues. One was of particular interest, a local, and they spoke about how he had been harassed by the left who had found out where he lived and knocked on his door at all hours of the night to intimidate him. The left, they sure are tolerant. The only harassment from the left today was one guy yelling out, who was quickly moved on by police, and some chanting which we could barely hear. In total, I saw maybe 30 leftists, and that was in total. The police, as I said, were out in force, maybe 40 uniformed police, another dozen mounted police, and a further 20 riot police, although they're called something else, in their Robocop armour. What all this proves is that while the police have gotten better at keeping the two sides apart, they have absolutely no idea what either side is up to. The amount of police was way out of proportion, although I did notice that the police made an effort to have friendly relations with the organisers. I have no idea if that was the case with the left or not. After the rally, I helped pack up, and then we went to the Eltham Hotel to have a drink and a chat. Quite a few went, and I spoke to a number of people who are as committed as ever to fight on. It's such a good feeling to see some real fighting spirit. Speaking of which, I spoke to one of the founders of the True Blue crew and asked him how they got started. He told me that they were sick of seeing the left attack people at rallies, and that he thought a group of young men who weren't going to take any rubbish was what the movement needed. I think he was spot on. The Coburg rally in late May 2016 proved that when the left tried to shut down a United Patriots Front rally through violence and failed. Since then, the left has avoided our rallies. There were also about 10 or so journalists, mostly freelancers, and one Channel 7 TV crew and one from SBS, the multicultural station. I was asked by one freelancer if I would do an interview on camera, but I said no. He was polite and moved on. I think talking to the media is a mistake. They prove each and every time that they are our enemy. Although I have seen some at a few rallies, and some even came to the Eltham Hotel and drank with us in case the left turned up, I have no idea. Although everyone was friendly enough. While at the hotel, we even had a visit from the local police who came down to say hello and to make sure everything was all right. Again, the police are making a real effort to build bridges. When I got home, I knew that the rally would be on the Channel 7 news. It was the lead story. Sometimes the news is neutral, most times it's not. This one sure wasn't neutral. It was very much on the side of the left. It showed footage of the left's march through Eltham, and their estimate of around 200 seemed about right. They didn't show any of the rally, even though they were there. I was less than a metre away from them at one point. They showed the True Blue crew arriving and a verbal exchange between two people. It was quite pathetic, really. Later on in the broadcast, the United Patriots Front was featured when a story came up about changing the racial vilification laws. The report was mentioned because some politicians wanted them abolished, but that wasn't the impression Channel 7 gave. No, their idea was to use pictures to show a UPF rally and imply that they are very much needed. The propaganda from the media never ceases.